know.
I know that when I record it to cloud, I can send you the link and you can access it straight away without having to download the video,
Yeah, excellent,
which
excellent.
is easier. Yeah. So we're
Yeah,
recording. Okay, just about mental models. You were talking about the mental models, right?
yeah.
So
And I like the name of that because it's
yeah,
clear. It's all happening here, right?
yeah, yeah. So where I don't have a strong mental model, for example, is building empires, making huge amounts of money. I personally, talking of myself, do not have this mental model as good as other people who play that game brilliantly, right? I don't. Yeah. So I
And
don't,
that's
yeah,
because of your upbringing, or is it because
exactly.
of personal choice?
Uh, it, well, the real honest answer is it's because of my upbringing. And then I justified it in my personal choice.
Tell
I
me.
made it my I made it my personal choice. Like, for example, I could be so much better at this if I really wanted to, right? If my life depended on it and you said, Mark, make 5 million euro, I could.
I know.
Bottom line, I
And
could.
what is the
So
story? What is the line? What is the
so I I have genuinely don't really care enough to do that. I just don't.
yeah,
It's just not meaningful enough for me to put all my energy in to get the right constructs, admin, process, rhythm, discipline,
yeah,
everything that's required to achieve that. If it was meaningful enough, I would have done it already, and I just don't
yeah.
give a shit enough about it. And I'm not knocking someone who would. I think that's
But,
really good for
but
other
what do
people.
but
Yeah.
what do you get? What is the priority? What is the priority?
Um, freedom to have more experiences, freedom to be who I am, and I do enough that I have a good enough life. I mean, and
To be able to experience all those things.
yeah, exactly. So, for example, if I do want to be able to travel, and I do, then I somehow manifest enough that I can do that, right?
Or you just call me and you say, I want to come back for training. Yeah, I can
Exactly.
probably work.
Yeah, exactly. Because then you can pay for my airfare to get over there, which is manifestation, right? It's the same.
No, but I get you because
Yeah,
it's beautiful how that works with these mental
yeah,
models. Same thing
yeah,
for me, and
yeah,
I know that what is my let's call it for a moment maybe a mental blockage or whatever in the
yeah,
what what's the blockage between this version of me and the version of me that is, I don't know, like earning lots and lots of money, for example. And for me,
yeah,
it's what's the word? Idealism driven.
yeah,
So I have this call it a limiting belief, whatever. It's also I think it's some sort of a moral value even. As from childhood onwards, I was like, the world isn't fairly, what's the word? When you divide it, like in terms
yeah.
of
It's
money and possibilities.
yeah,
So
it's
yeah,
yeah,
I was always in this, like, I can be like content with what I'm having, like, and there's some abundance. I'm very happy, but I don't need to be like abundant while knowing there's so many people out there not having anything.
yeah,
There's this kind of like idealist vision in me. And then every time I tell this to someone, they go like, yeah, but you can just enjoy this experience here. Yeah, that's true. I can choose to enjoy it. And I
yeah,
am. But at the same time, something in me cannot justify the fact, like, if I would be earning millions, and for sure I would be giving back to society as I'm doing already now, but still it's like, why would I, why do I even need that? Like, why would I be needing to earn millions? Because then what? I can have a more luxury vacation, can have a bigger car, what? So the same thing is, it's also purpose driven. Like,
yeah,
my priority is to same as you actually, to have all kinds of experiences. My other priority is my child.
Well, I was just about to say the same thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's about having enough space for relationships, especially with the most
Exactly.
meaningful relationships. So having enough space. If I was so much about the other mental model that I'm like, taking on the world and using myself up, and some people do that, and that doesn't mean they're bad or wrong necessarily. It just means that I chose not that.
It's a
Yeah.
different choice.
And also, that is a part of my upbringing because I didn't have much experience of tenderness, love, compassion, nurturing. There was no nurturing. So
Yeah.
I maybe pendulum swing a little bit too much into wanting to provide that. Perhaps,
Or you just
perhaps.
prioritize it right now. I don't know. It may be
Yeah,
a pendulum swing, it may be, but on the other hand, it's a beautiful one, right?
yeah. But I still sit in that inquiry, a bit and consider these things. Listen, and I'm older than you. And I know that age isn't, and then even in this spiritual time is a mental construct in itself, and age is a construct. But fuck, I'm nearly 57, so I do have to have some level of just awareness of that. I know I can be doing this for another 30 years. Like, I've just
Mhm.
ran comrades and all of that. But
But
yeah,
that's also the Mark, that's also the difference with I at least that's my belief, huh? Another mental
yeah,
model, a
yeah,
purpose-driven life.
yeah.
If you are leading a purpose-driven life, you're not thinking about your retirement.
No,
Well, at least
no,
I.
no, financial advisors hate having a conversation with me because, when they try and draw the pictures about, go when you retire, I'm like, and then, you're going to run out of money. I'm like, no, I'm not going to, like, no, but
Exactly.
you've got to retire at 65. I'm like, no, no, I'm going to retire
No,
at
I'm
60.
not. Like,
Like,
why
I
would
don't,
I? Like, what are you
so I
talking
don't,
about?
don't,
Yeah,
they really get stuck with me with that because they've been trained in a particular way to
exactly.
sell a particular product and it doesn't work.
Exactly.
Yeah, but, yeah.
Same.
Anyway, there was something else that I
Yeah,
just wanted to share.
we were coming from that podcast that you sent me the link. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, and
yeah,
I I think the spiritual world is absolutely beautiful and necessary, and we should, and it opens the door. But what um, I think is less cool, if you want to call it that, from my perspective, is when people become junkies of the industry. Now, like, and you and I have a business here. So, of course, let's be honest, you know, I've survived 20 years in this industry, but I'm always sitting with this question as if, do I make a difference? Like every single day I sit with that
same
and
here.
and and I'm living with that and really wanting to come from that. And I think when you do that, you then look deeper into the tools. You look deeper into the inquiries. You really go in there, and sometimes you come out and go, the way I saw it is not how I'm seeing it now. And I do
Exactly.
see the bypassing and why I'm not
But
so happy about the bypassing
I
part,
want to I want to bring something else in. For me, I am
Yeah,
not, and I have never been in the world of spirituality.
yeah,
I rather call it transformation or
sure.
personal development or whatever,
Yeah,
because what I observe, and it's just an observation, like often when people go into the label of spirituality, it becomes something where they all go like Om Shanti Shanti and let's clear some chakras and I don't know, and they start, yeah, there's just a couple of things that are popping up in that domain, and it literally it repels me. It repels me.
yeah,
Where I find complete fulfillment as a trainer, as a coach, is in the most humane things. That's my field of operation. So it's not like I don't need any client to come up to me and say like, "Oh my God, I feel more enlightened because we had a coaching or because we had a training." Because I go like, bullshit on that.
mm,
But it's like
mm,
if a client texts me on Friday evening and we've had a coaching 2 days before with her and her partner, and she says, Nat, thank you so much. It's already making an impact. We had such beautiful heart sharings together.
Yeah.
I can literally cry in that moment because I
Yeah.
do know that I've made a change. I made an impact, but especially they also
Yeah.
made a transformation. They made an impact. And it's like, it's about the things that touched me most in the past 10, 11 years with the Lighthouse, for example, is when this couple sends me a card with Christmas saying, Nat, this saved our marriage. Or
Mm.
someone approaches me and says, you know what? I hadn't been talking to my, what was it, sister or brother? I think brother for 7 years.
Mm.
And we rekindled. And
Yeah.
these are humane things for me. These
Mm.
are like finally forgiving your father or mother or whatever. This is, for me, it has actually nothing to do with spirituality, although I get that when we are in that space of embracing all those humane aspects,
I was just going to say that
by
is very
default
spiritual.
spiritual.
That
Yes,
is very
it
spiritual.
is
There is a
spiritual,
spiritual angle.
but it's not a
Yeah.
concept. It's not. It's the moment it becomes a concept again. It's like it's
Well,
almost like, yeah, it's
let me
almost.
where I get irritated because listen, and I can be quite pragmatic, and
Mm.
I've had feedback from other people in the spiritual realm that I'm, less spiritual. Even someone we know very
Where that
well.
starts. Less
Yeah,
and
and
more
like
spiritual.
it's because I'm still let's talk about the human part that I'm acknowledging that we need our egos. So, for example, I can be competitive with myself and with others, but it's not about that. It's not about beating other people. It's about having some kind of metric to see where am I, and I want to improve that metric and get better. I do coaching with a rugby team, right?
Yes,
It's about winning. It's about winning. That's not spiritual. That's about winning. But they hire me not because they want to lose, they want to win. Right.
exactly.
So I'm working with them on mental applications that help them win, but in that winning, to do it in a way which is um, having integrity, with having sportsmanship, of absolutely having respect for your opposition and like applauding your opposition, and knowing that in the rugby world, it's like war in a field where we get to experience the shadow part of ourselves and like the tough part and digging deep,
Digging deep,
and you
pushing
actually
through.
love the other warrior at the end, but not in the moment when you're tackling him to the ground, but certainly in the bigger picture. And like, so I can find spirituality in that. And, rather than we're all love, we're all one, and just sitting here, like this all the time. So
Exactly.
I, you know, so I think that I am spiritual, but I just don't wear a tie-dye.
I
And
I I
you know
literally,
that,
yeah, I
that,
literally don't give a shit of whether I'm spiritual or not. Uh,
yeah,
I'm like literally,
I think we all are. I think we
yeah,
all are. That's my point. I think we all are in
yes,
our own way,
true,
and having a different way of expressing it,
true,
just
true,
a different way of interacting with it.
true.
That's it,
I see it
right?
as bigger, and that's what we just said. It's also like for me again, it's in the being able to be fully present in the earthly experiences. Wow, that sounded really spiritual, but that is it. Like
But we are
the
having
sun
earthly
is
experiences.
rising, and you're just like, oh my God,
Yeah,
or the thunderstorm is picking up and the leaves of the trees are going like, and you go like,
yeah,
or there was like yesterday this little girl in school and she came back and she had been a little bit bullied by some other girls and she just came up and I saw her coming up to me and I saw she wasn't feeling good. I was like, are you okay? And she just came up, sat on my lap, put her head against my chest, and we just sat there. That's it for me. Just being fully present in that experience. And I think for
yeah.
me
I think
personally, for me,
you had no distance between you and her, so you didn't have stuff in the way. Made
no,
it really easy for her to be with you.
especially with
Because
kids
you had,
up in
yeah,
the room.
open
Mm.
receptive energy, which is a beautiful thing that we all need to practice at. and the practice of presence. Absolutely.
True.
Yeah.
That is something.
Yeah.
Those are actually, it's funny again, the practice, as you say it, the practice of presence. It sounds almost like a spiritual concept again. However, it's a very humane, earthly quality.
I get corporate
Right?
people to do it without actually saying it quite like that. You
Exactly,
know?
exactly.
Uh,
Like holding
yeah.
space. Like this is like a concept which is the wording is
Yeah.
so often used in the spiritual domain. But on the other hand,
Yeah.
we've been freaking holding space for centuries. But it's like for me, sometimes it's
Exactly.
getting back to the roots, it's getting back to the tribes, it's getting back to
Yeah.
sitting around the fire, looking into the fire. It's the whole village
It.
sitting with someone dying or someone
Yeah.
being born or like getting together,
Exactly.
carrying each other. That is spirituality, I guess.
Exactly. So that basic stuff that you're talking about, I just want to show you a corporate framing, right? Like that basic stuff is a whole big multi-billion-dollar industry where they're teaching EQ and listening skills.
Yeah,
And deep listening, when you really follow deep listening, what it takes you to is presence at the end of the day.
true.
Like they call it all these levels of listening, layers of listening, all these different things, but actually at the root is when you become present and notice and can receive another person fully, and they can receive you fully. And there's a transmission in that deeper communication that happens where we get each other's context, we get where we're coming from, we get and we connect. And yeah, you can dress it up differently, but at the end of the day, some of the fundamentals of human relationships is what we're doing,
Exactly.
and we're doing it in different ways, in lots of different ways. But actually, it's like what's the biggest core issue of the planet is a lack of relationship. You know.
Yeah, and I was, as you were speaking, it just popped up as well. It's like you asked me earlier in this conversation. I think we weren't recording yet, but we were looking about at spiritual development, personal development, and like is it really worth it? Is it needed? That kind of stuff. We didn't ask that question, but it was in there, right? Like,
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
it is it needed? And now I'm thinking, you know why it is needed? It's not in order to make someone better or to act as if you're not good enough. It's literally re- serving for removing the layers that are between you and me.
Yeah.
So, in order for me and for you, obviously, to be able to be more present, that's it, actually. So I
Yeah.
can be more if I have a certain story running about you, or I don't feel comfortable with you because of name, then that's what's sitting between us, and it's creating some form of separation.
Yeah.
And the more crap, the more mental
Yeah.
models I get out of my system regarding to
Yeah.
you, and not only regarding to you, Mark, as a person, but maybe also regarding to men in general, or
Yeah.
regarding to a certain quality that you have, or regarding to a certain someone you remind me of, or we can have so much bullshit layers in between us.
Yeah. And I really do identify as a man with a penis. True story. Yeah.
True story. Happy
True
to hear
story.
that. Happy to.
Um, yeah. I was going to say something about, okay.
But then your
And this
penis
is,
goes away.
no, it did get in the way. Uh, I put, I, it's not in the way anymore. So where I've struggled, right, I think, where I see, in the whole experience, even with CCI's, its own survival is like needing to sell and then just becoming a marketing machine trying to sell for its own survival. And then you see the hugely successful, say, Anthony Robbins. And I resist that, like 13,000 people. And I wonder if all those 13,000 people, like were massively transformed or not really. Do they still have money issues? Probably. Like the biggest winner there is Anthony Robbins himself. And I don't even dislike the guy. Like, he's done some good stuff, and him as a human being, I think, cool. Like, you say some really amazing things that I resonate with. But the industry behind it is what I resist. That, I would be a lot richer if I didn't resist it, because I just don't want to create a product that has a hook that hooks you in, and then I keep you tied and keep you in this continuous cycle of self-development forever, and I'm scoring money off of you. That
Mhm.
makes me want to vomit,
Mhm. And
personally.
at the same time, we are in it, right?
We're in it. No, like, no wonder I have like amazing months and then terrible months, because I'm in that uh, push and pull, like
Oh, push and
resistance
pull.
to it, but I'm in it, and like that whole thing.
Same
But
here. Same here.
yeah, and I think the point is where I want to get to. Like, I had a client this morning. I had a really honest conversation with him, and I called it and I said, I'm not going to take any more money from you, because he's in such a unique, and I don't want to talk too much about it, but just basically coping with life.
Hmm.
And I can see his whole, what I want to call, like, very conditioned, not wanting to offend. Some people call it people pleaser, but it's too generic. There's more layers to that. So I don't want to say he's just that. There's more to him. But I felt I had to say to him, I do not want to sign you up for any more coaching.
Hmm.
Let's have a different arrangement, like where
Hmm.
it's more cost effective for you. And we just do a 10-minute check-in monthly, so I can hold space for you.
Hmm.
And this is one of the reasons why I'm not going to be the richest person in this industry ever. I'm not going to be. But then I get to like myself more.
I love that.
Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? I get to like myself more. So how do you want to play the game?
How do you want to play the game? I love
How
that.
do you want to play the game? Yeah,
I
yeah,
love that question.
yeah,
Yeah, as I said before, it's like for me, I so much can feel in my heart. My heart beats for just
yeah,
inspiring others, like waking them up, but not in a way of like, you're not good enough, you need to wait. Not that. It's just like waking up to possibility, waking
yeah,
up to something new, waking
yeah,
up to see that whole there's so much more out there than you thought was possible. That waking up to potential, that's what I get so
absolutely.
excited about. And then at the same
Yeah,
time, seriously, I said already, my daughter, and whether you call that a thing or not, you're right that what you said before, it may be even a reaction to my own childhood, where like my own parents were independent. They were like always working. I was a lot alone, and I kind of like made that commitment to me and to her silently. I'm going to be there. You're going to be my priority until you stand on your own 2 feet, which
yeah.
she's already doing. If I could, like, she's almost living on her own. She's 11.
I'd love to
Yeah,
see her
right.
again. I'd love to see her again. And
No,
she,
but
yeah,
that's the thing. So I'm like always looking. The moment there are days and moments that
yeah,
I get frustrated sometimes, and I get into like, why am I not having this or that, or earning more than this or that? And then I like literally like bitch slap myself for a moment, like wake myself up for a moment and see like, because your child is your priority. And ever since she was little, I've always been there to bring her to school and to pick her back up. It's always been my priority. And I'm like, so I can feel so much love in just saying that. I'm so proud of that I created that. And when I see her today walking around and acting as an 11-year-old independent, like loving, connected individual, I'm like, yeah, there you go. There's my life purpose.
yeah,
And
yeah,
obviously, we need to make a living and we need to survive in this realm. And that's yeah.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, I mean, I think I shared that story with you when COVID hit and I lost a bunch of business that was all live face-to-face stuff. Here in South Africa, I'm not sure how it is in Belgium or in Europe, but we have to pay, if you don't want to use the government system,
Mhm.
which is a really broken system, you have to
Mhm.
pay big school fees to send your kids to school.
Okay.
So sitting there March 2020, looking at my nice SUV car, but seeing no money coming in the foreseeable future. I had a slight mini panic attack. And the
Mm.
first thing that came out was like, fuck, my daughter's school fees. I can't let her down, you know. So we have this amazing company that's grown really successfully here called We Buy Cars. They come to your place and they look at the car and they give you an instant quote and they pay you there and then. So I did that and took that money and just put it into my daughter's school fees. So at least I didn't have that pressure and didn't have to have a concern about her and that kind of thing, and it's humbling as well, to have that kind
That,
of responsibility. It was humbling, and now I'm driving this little Haval. It's not very sexy. It's not very fast.
but it just
It's
gets you from A to B, right?
doesn't even have a turbo in it. It doesn't even have a turbo engine. It's like a 1.5 engine. So when you go up the hill and you put an aircon on, it feels like you're going to start going backwards. But it's reliable and it gets me around. And now I can actually afford a better car, and I'm not going to. I'm just like, I'd rather have the spare cash than have a nice car. And it's these things, these moments where you you know this is where I wanted to go with this, is link it to, like, I'm not a big fan in our world, in our game, of the law of attraction that's about manifesting material things all the time.
That you,
Yeah.
so it's about
You know,
this internal feelings.
exactly,
Mm.
exactly.
Mm.
And I wouldn't want anyone to think
Mm.
that's what we do, because it's not what we do.
It's not
You
all we
know,
do.
we're not going to give you
I'm gonna
a,
add to that. I don't know whether I told you last time that we spoke that I started working a couple of months again. I started working in a
yeah.
in a breakfast bar again for only three hours a week.
Okay.
Listen,
You've always done stuff like this since
I
I've known you.
know, and I'm
Yeah.
fucking loving it. So
Yeah.
I could never do it full time because it is physically intense.
Yeah.
It doesn't pay shit. Literally, I'm like earning 10 euro per hour, but I'm not doing it for the money. So most of the people around me, they're like, what the fuck? Why? Why would you do that? Like, you're not earning money with it. I'm like, because it's not about the money. It's like,
Yeah.
it just, I
It's like,
notice I'm sometimes singing while I'm serving. Like, I love the
right.
fact that it's, by the way, it's a great bar. It has great food. It has an awesome team, great energy. Oh my God, I don't know. It just satisfied me to be there a couple of hours in a week. I'm looking forward going there. And then obviously my head is saying like, wow, so you gave so much of yourself to have now 30 euros. But like, that's okay because I have my coaching business and other stuff, which brings in more money. And I'm also doing that with all my heart. But it's
Yeah.
like, it's not about the money. It's not about the money. And it's just,
Exactly.
that's the thing. You can call
But
me.
that fills your cup up, and then you take that filler cup to your clients and to
Yeah.
your other places and your daughter even. And
It can actually be frustrating, Mark, to be honest, can actually be frustrating sometimes to
yeah,
realize like because
yeah,
there's so much inequality in salaries, right? And
yeah,
positions
yeah,
and I don't agree with that at all. But that
yeah,
like I'm so much enjoying that, but I'm literally like also pacing that in only 3 hours per week because
yeah,
I could not live my life in this job with a salary as such, right? I think I
right.
want to do it full time, but at the same thing, it's just like it's not really fair. And then, for example, schools, I'm also still teaching. I'm still teaching, like I have been teaching the past year about 4 and up to 6 hours per week in a primary school. I fucking love it to be there. And these children, as you say, they don't have stuff between most of the time. So they're very open, receptive, and all of that. On the other hand, the system itself in education is so fucking heavy, is so loaded, is so conceptual, is so constructed that it wears me down. So I already know for myself, for example, I cannot operate full time in any teacher environment.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's why both of you, you and I, we're both about freedom, right? We're
Yeah.
both about freedom, internal freedom, yes, but also
Yeah.
freedom concepts, freedoms, freedom in obstructions, in conditioning, in belief systems, and all kinds of things. So that, yeah, I think,
Exactly. And that freedom is a better context for expressing your own authenticity, your own
essence.
expressing who you are fundamentally into life.
Yes.
Yeah, because if you're always up at corporate where there were particular rules, and maybe some of those rules of that particular corporate just didn't resonate with my value system,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like truth speaking, then I'm always going to be up against it. And a part of my being would be really reduced because to be me would be to be maybe put into performance management or try that would send me to sometimes they send you to a course about how to do politics in corporates or yeah, so I choose not that world, but I can support people in that world,
Yeah.
funnily enough, uh,
That's beautifully put,
to
actually. I choose to
within
not.
that world
Yeah.
to become, yeah.
Sorry, the
So
thing was breaking up
yeah,
from my side at the moment. The
yeah,
image.
I saw a sign saying my internet is unstable.
Okay.
I- Is is that a message? Can you
Yes,
hear
you
me? Or are you
are
still
still
hearing me?
unstable from time to time. As am I.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, yeah. I manifest that the whole internet structure of our country. Yeah, that's so. Where do I want to take the conversation a little bit further? Is just to say it's amazing to have like real dialogue.
Real what look? Sorry.
Like real dialogue.
Okay, yeah.
Dialogue
Dialogue. Dialogue.
is dialogue. Yeah. Yeah, without fear or favor, without, the heavy judgment of how it should look.
Hmm.
There's a lot of that I notice out there, like how we should be speaking. Even in our world, there's a bit of that we're creeping in, where like the way of speaking is supposed to look like a particular thing.
Hmm. Hmm.
For me, what's more important is just having a sense of where's someone coming from.
Hmm.
And then I can be more forgiving if they're speaking that's not politically correct, for example, or it's not said in the perfect way. But I
Hmm.
have a feel for where that person's coming from, and I can interact
Hmm. True.
with that essence of where they're coming from. I think that's more important than all my phrasing.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah, and I enjoy that we can have that space, you and I.
Yeah. We
Yeah,
always had
and you'll
that.
call me if I do cross the line, because I might cross the line here or there, and you just put me in my place, right?
Wouldn't be the first time, probably not the last, right?
Yeah, that's
That's what friendship is about.
yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
no, I'm loving our conversation, and I think it's very valuable to just put some thoughts out there,
Yeah,
just as a means to for people to reflect on, and
yes,
yeah,
yeah.
maybe this is
Reflect on, yeah. Like if I think of the thing we're putting together, raw, radical, and real, it's like the raw ingredients, like when they say raw talent, like it's an unpolished diamond in a way. Yeah, it's not being polished. It's unpolished, raw, like the without adding, no
exactly.
colorants,
Exactly. I
no,
love that. I love that.
yeah,
It's
like
pure.
what is
Pure.
it's pure. It's your rawness, which
Yes.
might mean it's a bit spiky. It's a bit like edgy or a bit
I'm gonna.
like
You know what
because
I?
it's not polished.
You know what I'm thinking about straight away? It's funny actually because
Yeah,
a couple of years ago I was teaching in a what's the word secondary school. I don't know how you call it,
yeah.
like age 12 to 18,
High school, yeah.
high school.
Secondary high school, yeah.
Yes. So We have, I don't know how it is in South Africa, but we have these different streams, which is a stream, which is people doing like um, sciences or psychology or like the highest educational stream.
Okay.
And then you have
Okay.
B stream and no, sorry, yeah, I don't know even what it's called anymore. You have like the technical stream and you have the more like practical hands-on people, like the
Okay.
I'm not good with words today. But anyway, there was this difference.
Artisans.
Artisans. Yeah, that's maybe it's a beautiful word actually.
Yeah.
So the A stream, so these people being in maths, mathematics,
Yeah.
languages, psychology, sciences,
Yeah.
I experienced them as more strategic. They were a bit more withheld, even on the age of 15, 16, more withheld, more observing, contemplating, like sometimes very manipulative as well, but like
Yeah.
strategic. Whereas the children of 15, 16, which were in their
Slightly superior in their own mind.
exactly. And where these youngsters of a 15, 16-year-old, which were,
Yeah.
what did you call it? Artisanal or whatever, or craftsmanship or
Yeah. Yeah.
technology.
Yeah. Yeah.
Straightforward, like you say,
Yeah.
raw. They're like,
Yeah.
yes, I don't like this. I'm like, I can
Yeah.
understand, but you
Yeah. Yeah.
immediately knew what you had
Yeah.
before you.
Yeah.
You were like straightforward, and I always appreciated that more because they're
Yeah.
way more in their body. They're way more in the experience. Yes, it's true that they're also, um, that's actually an interesting topic because they're actually more reactive.
Yeah.
They're actually more a victim of their thoughts and feelings,
Yeah. Yeah.
but on the other hand, the ones, the A stream, they are conducting their thoughts and feelings more,
Mm.
like in a
Yeah,
strategic,
but they're
manipulative
more
way.
conditioned. They're more
Yes,
conditioned in social etiquette,
exactly.
in presenting the image of yourself, your brand,
Exactly.
how I come across. More
So
subtly
where,
manipulative. Yeah.
and that's the thing. I always try to walk with these different streams. I always
Yeah.
try to walk the path between,
Yeah.
like how to be
Yeah.
in your body,
Yeah.
feeling your truth, but not
Yeah.
reacting from it as an instinctive,
Yeah.
primal thing. But on
Yeah.
the other hand, being honest.
But that's cool because we're not saying, and you're not saying one is better than the other.
No,
It's
not.
different. They come with their unique, but authenticity, finding that connection to your body, like you're saying, is available to both.
Exactly.
And one also can learn from the other. That's the other thing I picked up. One could learn
Exactly.
from the other rather than saying this is the way it should be. If I think of the separation in the world, even with left and right, especially in America, like there's the lefties and there's the right wing. It's like actually both of you are blind because you're too attached to your perspective.
Own
So
mental
you're not
model.
able to
Yes.
hear your mental models and you're not, so you have a big blind spot.
Hmm.
It's like where is the space in between? I
Yeah.
like that. Where's the in between space where you get to see the full range, the full color and beauty of everything. It's not one or the other, that's for
Yeah.
sure.
I've been
It's
thinking
not
about this.
Palestine or Israel. What's in between people,
Exactly. Exactly.
yeah,
I was thinking
yeah.
about, isn't there this quote of Rumi about uh, between what's right and what's wrong, I'll meet you in the middle or something?
Yeah, yeah, it is. That is a Rumi quote. Yeah.
I think right and wrong. I
He
somewhere
was he was from
out beyond
Persia.
here we go. Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there's a field. I'll meet you there.
Yeah, yeah,
I love that.
exactly. Yeah.
That's for me
So needed, so needed. And even just to mention South Africa, so our government, no one won, so they've got to do a coalition, and they have to find each other. They're already fighting because now it's going to be a big process of ego management where people are attached to what they had. They have to let go. But it's also amazing because South Africa potentially could live into the way of being with diversity, different parts, different ideas, and having to work together. It's like the people have said, none of you are good enough. You have to work together.
I
You
love
have
that.
to work together. And this is, I feel, an opportunity
For a new beginning.
for a new beginning, but it's also a lesson for many people, you know. And I think
It's so
globally we have
humbling,
to work
right?
together. It's humbling, yeah. There's not but one big winner,
I
you know.
like that actually. We've mentioned it
Yeah,
twice in this conversation, the concept of humility. I think
yeah,
there's a reason why it has the three first letters of human in there, right?
yeah, yeah. And I just want to add, as a deeper awareness, not false humility, not pretending to be sweet and kind when you really got some anger. That's false humility, you know, like owning who you actually are. And
But
if you're
that's
good at
also
something, you
conditioning,
can say,
right?
I'm good at it. I'm good at this.
Listen,
I'm good at
listen, that's
this.
also conditioning. And it took me quite a couple of
Yeah,
years. It's
yeah,
also by that, even that is a spiritual bypass. Because
yeah.
like even for me, for example, in my romantic relationship, the last one, it took me a couple of years. I was always in the space of compassion and understanding the other party.
Mm,
But although I did speak my mind, I did cross my boundaries several times
okay.
and went to excruciating psychological pain, emotional pain,
Yeah,
to go beyond my own wants and needs, like in order to understand someone else's action. So again, it's such a thin line
sure.
in having
Yeah,
space for someone at the same time. You are a human being, having your own values, having your own moral and ethics, and
sure.
it
Yeah.
can cause a lot of emotional
I
pain.
can really get that. I can really get that. And I haven't done it so much in relationships. I've done it more like with my past gurus, where I've been too forgiving, too not looking
Understanding
at certain things, and
this
yeah,
shadow
to
side. So
understand all of
I
that,
get you.
where I'm compromising my own. And that was because, and I'm not sure what your, like, the psychological aspect of it, that was because I was still judging myself and had a saboteur and feelings of unworthiness actually inside of me, which made me more giving too much power to others, right? So,
I get you, but for me it was the spiritual concept or spiritual illusion of I need to be unconditional,
ah,
and
okay,
that took me a couple of years to really get that. Like,
okay,
fuck that, like unconditional. It's like I
yeah,
can
like,
be unconditional, but at the same time have healthy boundaries.
yeah,
I can
boundaries are
love
important,
someone unconditionally, even my ex. I still love him.
but
Like
boundaries are conditions, right? Can you see, like, where boundaries are conditions, and this is where the spiritual
exactly,
world and the human
exactly.
world does that, because it's like,
That's where
yeah,
I got fucked up in my
yeah,
head, like
yeah,
every time
yeah,
I felt like
yeah,
this isn't right, this doesn't feel, I literally I get into introspection.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like I should be even more compassionate, I should be even more understanding, bam, 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 bam. And I what I did was I lost myself. And okay, we can go into a spiritual conversation about, okay, what is losing the self, nani, nani, nani.
yeah,
And then I want to make it back earthy in terms of we are here in a human body, in an
yeah,
experience, in a human world. We need to
yeah,
operate in a human world. So there are
yeah,
certain conditions. And yes,
yeah,
you can go through excruciating psychological pain in detaching from everything and everyone.
yeah,
But I have been asking myself that question, is that truly what I want in this life?
yeah,
Like I can see that because of this path of personal development that I've become way more free internally and freer
yeah.
than a lot of people that I can see and observe out there. but,
Absolutely.
but
Yeah.
I'm a human being. We're like,
Yeah.
we have a tendency to belong to someone, to be, to share. I'm enjoying this conversation because I feel our
Yeah.
connection. Like
Yeah.
would I really do? No, I don't. I don't aspire to be in this conversation detached. I don't.
Well,
I
we all
like the
do
fact
have
that
a,
I can feel
yeah,
attached to you. And
yeah,
if you get into a fight
exactly,
right now, that's also fine because that
yeah,
I would still love you.
exactly. Like we're attached to our children for now. Yeah.
Exactly.
Maybe we don't own them, and in the spiritual world, we own them absolutely. Not at all, but we do have responsibility and attachments.
Exactly.
And yeah, absolutely. So I
But
get it. And guess what? We've
imagine
got
what it would do.
personalities. You know,
But
like we're
listen,
in spiritual world, nothing. You are nothing. You're
I
nothing.
know,
No one.
but listen,
Empty. Nothing. No, you're nothing.
listen. When we look at the theory
Uh,
of John Bowlby, who
yeah.
says secure attachment, right? The attachment
Yeah.
theory of John Bowlby.
Oh yeah.
Imagine that you
Yeah.
would get into that space of detachment when your child was born.
Well,
What would
the
you be
survival
raised?
of a human survival of the human race would be under threat.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I think it is important. And of course, we are
Yeah.
doing that in Raw Radical Real. We are having a conversation on non-attachment and detachment and attachment and the differences between of that, of course. But it's
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I'm clear that I'm not on this path because of want to become enlightened in any way. I do believe that it has to do with becoming lighter in
Yeah.
terms of the stuff that I'm leaving behind, the stuff
Yeah.
that's serving me.
Yeah.
But I think
Yeah.
I
And also shining a light. Like you do shine
yeah,
a light on certain subjects. You go to, there's no
like
sacred cows.
Lighthouse.
We have a look. We look at it like sexuality, religion, politics. You shine
And
a light. You look at it.
yes,
You see the shadows it creates, and you have a
and
look, and
asking
you
critical
decide.
questions.
Yeah, and it comes back to how do you want to play the game?
Love
Like
that question. I love that question.
yeah,
I'm gonna write it down for
yeah,
today. How do you want
yeah,
to play the
and
game?
and it's a very personal thing, and it's like it, because I don't think that I should completely say these are the rules and this is how you play it.
Mhm.
And
Mm-mm.
we need to co-create that and look at it together and become aware of it, so it's less unconscious and restrictive and hurtful and
Obviously.
a reduced experience of living. We want an
Yep,
expanded experience of living where we get to feel everything and see and experience the richness of it all, and it's,
exactly.
yeah,
Then we get
yeah,
back to that word experiences. And I think also
yeah,
I don't know, that's what we have in common again as well, you and I, like the curiosity.
yeah,
Curiosity about new experiences. Like,
yeah, yeah.
actually, it's like becoming an adult, but to some extent, what's the word?
Innocence.
Preserving the innocence and curiosity of a child, like mind.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
to that, something like that.
As well as and. It's
As
not
well as
one or the other.
no, no,
Yeah,
no.
we can have both. We can be an adult and completely, beautifully, innocently childish. Just
Yeah.
look at us.
So I'm gonna
Yeah.
pause the
Yeah, that's
recording
a good
here.
place to yeah, that's a good place to stop it. Hey.
Uh,
Uh